CMC, for the people, by the people, and to the people. Citizens movement for change. Oh yes, a new day has come. Yes, a new day has come. Rise up Liberia. CMC, for the people. CMC, by the people. Let us join our hands together to build a better Liberia. CMC, CMC, for the people. CMC, by the people. Let us join our hands together to build a better Liberia. Equity, national unity, transparency, accountability, social justice, integrity, CMC core values. CMC Global. It is a new day for Liberia. It is a new day for the people. Let's hold together. Let's hold together. It's a unity. Raise up your hands. CMC. The land of liberty, the land of freedom, the love of liberty brought us together. Let's hold together in peace and unity to build a better Liberia. CMC, CMC, for the people. CMC, yes, by the people. Let's hold together in peace and unity to build a better Liberia. CMC, CMC, yes, for the people. CMC, yes, by the people. Let's hold together in peace and unity to build a better Liberia. CMC, yes, 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 the time has come.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. It is good to be with you. This is the Political Lounge, Citizens Movement for Change. This is our corner where we come to talk CMC. J. Victor Namwe here. It is great to be with you. Thanks for joining us. Please share the show. Invite a friend to join you. Let's have a good time. While I with my colleagues to come on, there are a few things we'll discuss tonight. Ansu and Henry, thanks for producing. It's good to be joining you. Tonight we'll look at Senator Yatwayen of Nimba has joined the Honorable Musa Asambelete in calling for caution on the Asalametel MDA restructuring of the Asalametel MDA, the bill. The Honorable Musa Asambelete came out with his position on why he will be voting against that bill. But notwithstanding, we all know the configuration of the House minority, majority takes the day, and it looks at that bill in spite of the opposition registered by the CMC and the Honorable District 7 representative. That bill seemed to have passed the House, and now it is before the Senate. And so Senator Twaye is cautioning his colleagues to exercise restraint and caution in moving with this bill. Make sure that it addresses. There are a few things he pointed out. We'll talk about those. And also the Honorable Musa Asambelete has also written an open letter to the senator telling him thank you for plucking up the courage, but notwithstanding, he is also cautioning him to be steadfast, that he will be tested And the task that he's about to undertake is pretty heavy, pretty humongous. The pressure will be brought on him, but that he should remain unbending. So we'll look at that. We will also talk about, we have been calling for reshuffle in government. Today, I believe, marks the second anniversary of this government coming into being. And the president is now beginning to move some pieces on the chessboard, but there are concerns as to um, the decision and some of the movements that the executive is making. We know the young deputy minister from the Ministry of State has been elevated to the position of Minister of Youth and Sports. But by the same token, the veteran lawyer in Ko Bangali, who many people thought really did an excellent job with the county meet, seems to have been, demoted. He has been sent to the position from minister to director of a of an agency. So we'll look at that. As we were coming here, I was reading a letter of apology. Ever since the ouster of the president of Venezuela and the condemnations from various sectors, including the United Nations Security Council, a statement was read on behalf of the three African countries on the Security Council. I believe they are Somalia, the DR Congo, and Liberia. They call themselves the A3. And our ambassador, my dear friend uh, Louis Brown, I believe, was tasked with the responsibility by his colleagues to read this letter. There has been a lot of chatter uh, in Liberian, political circles, social media, all over the place. And many people think that he shouldn't have read his statement. Many people believe he did not consult the executive. Many people believe he did. Many people believe his statement may have brought on the consequences that we're suffering today. Liberia has been placed on a visa pause along with 20 other African countries. We'll look at that. Because of that, the counselor, Joe, Frederick Joe, has actually come out to apologize to the U.S. government on behalf of the government and people of Liberia. So we'll look at that briefly, but I will pass this on to Ansu, my friend, who's back in Liberia. I believe he may have a couple of things to update us on the happenings, the goings on in Liberia. Hello, Ansu. Thanks for producing. It's good to see you, my friend.
Mr. Nangwe, let me say, how's up to you? Thank you. Wonderful, great to be here tonight on the show. So, as I said, we are here tonight, sitting pretty tight, up to 1:30 Liberian time. So, we hope to have a wonderful, wonderful night with our people, and as we lay out the discussion, and then make it interactive with them. But great to be on the show tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any updates that you may have, or you will provide them later on as we proceed?
Well, not very much. Just that Liberia. Every time, like I said yesterday on this show, I said every time that comes, every day that break in Liberia, there must be a new story. A story can come up.
Hmm.
There is a story that comes up, something away from somewhere. Uh,
Okay.
you know, we get new stories. So, not much, but Liberia, everything is cool, and we are just running with our normal activities.
Okay.
As we look at our government, again, I think that Monday should be uh, the 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 day set for the president nation address. So
Okay.
wait, yeah, we wait to hear from the executive. What's the plan of Monday going to look like? Then the next thing is that There's a couple of news, I've been training late this afternoon back home here. The issue of the yellow machine has packed up back into the news again.
The yellow machines are back in the news.
Yeah, but the REFO D or the rare agreement, or negotiation between the government and whose Chinese company did not, materialize. So for that
Right,
reason, the 35 pieces of machine that came first in 2024, they have to send the machine back because the arrangement is not fruitful. uh, the reaction for Liberians is just so crazy. Liberians some disappointed. On it. Why must the government keep a machine here for from 2024 up to 2026 without a proper arrangement? Sending the
right,
machines back, sending those machines back is going to cost a lot of money. So who's going to take charge again to ship um, uh, 35 pieces of a yellow machine bag. So it's going to be very expensive. All this on our desk. And another controversial story that sparked was about another hospital uh, in Grand Julia County. It was dedicated today by His Excellency the Vice President, who attended that program. And so today the dedication ceremony took place in Grand Julia on a referral hospital there for the people of Grange there. So the information that sparkled, I think it was back then from the past administration again, a former president, a president we had administration who did that groundbreaking ceremony and then started the construction work up to the level in which today the this current government is going to dedicate the hospital. So there are a lot of news, a lot of things happening home here.
yeah,
It's just a day running activities with so many news,
yeah.
Mr. Conway.
So thank you very much, Ansu. Appreciate that. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but since you are on the ground, I'm going to ask you about if maybe one or two trending stories, and then you can tell us if you're hearing anything about any of them or not. That's okay. First of all, let's start with this President Bwaka and Alex Cummings meeting, right? Initially, the photos that came out, they painted a picture of a chance, an accidental meeting by the president and the political leader of the ANC at a sports complex. But now there are videos emerging that seem to suggest that there was really a powwow, a kind of getting together that happened in the VIP conference room or VIP lounge. The videos are suggesting that these two people seem to already spend a lot of time together before either before or after the game. Are you guys hearing anything beyond just what we saw on the field where they went, the both of them went to give the kickoff to the final of the game between Nimba and Grand Crew?
Nothing much. For me, nothing much. We getting extra from what we saw on Sunday though, because yeah, from what we saw on Sunday, we it was just a normal game. That the His Excellency were invited to do the kickoff, and since
Okay.
it was the grand final of the tournament, and looking at the essence of that tournament, the essence of that tournament is about unity, it's about reconciliation, it's about uniting Liberians. So anyone can can go to the stadium and watch the game,
Right.
whether you are a public figure, or whether you are a government official or what you be, anybody can go to the stadium to watch the game. So we all knows that Mr. Lazara Cummings just went to the stadium to watch the final game, and maybe there being a key figure when it comes to the opposition, and or not just
Right.
from the opposition camp, but Mr. Cummings is he playing a major role in this country. He's a top government official. So
Absolutely.
when you go to the stadium to watch game and maybe bounce into the president, he'll be given the same VIP treatment, as one of a renowned politician. So we just saw it like he went to the game to the stadium to watch a normal final and just bounced into the president, and the both of them were just given that all hands to go and do the kickoff. Well, since then I'm not hearing anything in the corridor. I'm not hearing anything different. They still don't have a VIP stand. Well, when they go for the game, sometimes the VIP goes into the lodge to sit there where you have maybe a meal or prepare food for the VIP. So maybe as I said, Mr. Cummings is a key figure. So that attention was given to him too, and especially from the opposition camp, meeting the president. Mr. Nagbe, all these things when they happen on the political scene, you want to see our people there going back and forth, talking harsh politics on the various platform when the time reaches. But for me, these people them behind closed door, behind the curtain, they meet,
Yeah.
they talk, they sit, and have good conversation. Like they go on time, like when the president paid a visit to the former vice president, Madam Joy Howard Taylor, to our house, to sympathize with what we saw, the that about connection with she and the president. It was the people who haven't met before. It was the people who haven't thrown jabs at each other before.
Yeah.
So yeah, so when they meet on the political platform, you will see them. Everybody will have what they're supposed to talk, what they're supposed to say. But beyond the scene, the normal life and other stuff, they have a good conversation. So I know
Right.
very well that Mr. Cummings went to the stadium to watch the final and just bounced into the president and being a very key man to the country too. So I know he was given that VIP all links to join the president to do the kickoff.
Thank you very much, Ansu. And I agree with you. There may not have been much to it. It's just that the day following that meeting, there was a write up from Representative Tai Wongwe, and the way he wrote it is he wrote it as though the Mr. Cummings had gone to the games. He was in the VIP box, and the president came and met him there and said, "Oh, Alex," and invited him, to join him. And then in the process, they went to take the kickoff. But now it looks like after that, they seem to have retired, into the VIP lounge and probably even had refreshment out of that. But hey, it's all good, like you said, politics, they're not enemy, they just disagree on methodologies. But these are two friends, they go way back. I understand Alice has is one or two children named after the president, and so they go way back. So, but glad they could get together. So let's move on. Let me ask you also another story here. The reshuffle the president seemed to be making. The minister, I think she's also a lawyer, Colina Cra. I always struggle with the first name, but Miss Cra, who is the daughter of the Minister of Labor, was the deputy minister at the Ministry of State. She has been elevated to the position of Minister of Youth and Sports, which is good. She's young. I think she may be very much in touch with the young people. So that way, I think the appointment seems to be a good fit. Even though I don't know her credentials, but I think the fact that she's coming to lead a ministry that is primarily supposed to interface with the young people. She herself being a young lady, I think that's a good thing. But what concerns a lot of people is the minister who was holding that position. Up to now, I haven't really heard any reason, if there is any, that may have motivated this reshuffle. But he seems to have been demoted. Are you guys picking anything up at all? Is anything under the radar that we're not hearing that may have been responsible for this movement?
Why I'm very, very sure maybe it was just I think it was just yesterday, this entire reassignment nomination or what spiked up on the internet. So
Right.
for some of us were still waiting to see or to hear. Maybe there are other information will come out. But our show will be done on the weekend or Friday or Saturday. maybe there'll be some response from other camps, maybe from the camp of what the former minister who's now being assigned to El Trooper IRC. You
Right.
know, maybe we hear what happened, what's wrong, but nothing much. We not hear anything. We're just like the strict the streaks or what I would call it or swap or what the president did was just surprising everybody. You
Right.
know, like you said, right after the national count is supposed to be, people thought that the minister did well, extremely well. They wish he would maintain that that position, but between was swap. Nobody knows what happened. Now it is a very fresh breed now.
Yeah.
He's taken to the ministry. Cornelia Cry, I think she should be around 35, 36 years old. She's a
Yeah.
very young, yeah, very young person. So, um, what exactly she taking there? Uh, you know, so wait and see. Her changes, her transformation, the level of work she's going to conduct
Right.
to
Right.
that place. So there's nothing yet in the corner, whether it was any reason or for anything. It's just that on the social media, there are a lot of mixed information. There are some, posts from some key people. We cannot rely on some of the posts. What they say that due to the county made him poor handle, or the county made. Some people say the influence of her father, who works at the Ministry of Labor, the administer. Different saying that how people, carrying this story. But wait on the government, wait to hear from any of them to tell us. Maybe maybe Bangalore love the job where he had been sent to LRRC. So as I said, Mr. Dango will wait to hear is it carried out the weekend. Those so all the Atai centers will go there, will get all the G's from there.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me say here, and you can correct me. I think she probably may now be the youngest cabinet minister in this government. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
for the Ministry of States for Presidential Affairs, so there as one of the Deputy Minister for Administration, and now bringing on a sound now to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So it's not
Okay.
easy thing. Well, yeah, we all say we wish her all the best. Let's
Yeah.
wait and see how it look there for her.
Let,
As
let
a
me
very
let
young
me
person.
let me let me talk on your leg a little bit. Cole Bangalore, he is from the Unity Party, right? I think he one time
Yeah,
was he chairman of the Unity Party or ranking member?
he's a member, but he's a very close ally to the president. They both
Okay.
hail from the same county, Lofa
Yeah,
County.
he's from Lofa, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
But I
Thank
know
you.
maybe someone will say, but since he's from Lofa, is one of the main reasons why they just reassign or did that swapping. But like anybody, if it was a different person, maybe they're
Yeah,
going to be dismissed, be
they're
suspended.
probably going to be a separation entirely.
Yeah,
Yes.
but maybe because of the closeness, connection to the government and such. But they're just saying they are triple piracy.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm sure if there's anything to know beyond what's being expressed, we'll find out. Liberia, if we can meet you with they say they can meet with a gala, if anything. But congratulations to Councillor Gerald Cole Bangaloo and also Councillor Cornelia Cooper. Oh no, yeah, I think Kra. I'm not sure if she's Cooper, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Cornelia Cry, Cooper, Tukba. I think my last name was Tukba. She married
Okay,
to Tukba.
okay, all right. So congratulations to her. So yeah, we before we get to our main event, we've seen pictures of the Minister of Foreign Affairs posing with Elon Musk at the Economic Development Forum happening in Davos, Switzerland. We heard yesterday that she was having a roundtable of some 20 or so leaders at that conference. I am not sure if Elon Musk was in that company, but apparently they had a meeting. We know that Elon Musk is present in Liberia. I think he is the the proprietor of Starlink, and I think Starlink is operational and functional in Liberia now. I met a number of my friends when my wife were there recently who were telling us that they're using Starlink and how reliable it is. We haven't seen any readout yet from that meeting, but it seems to be a promising meeting. You guys picking up anything from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs besides the pictures that I read up on what the minister wrote? She just said that she finally had. I think she felt. Didn't say she didn't use the word permission, but she felt now. She felt confident enough to
Yes,
release the
yes, to
photo.
release the photos.
Right. So
She
I
said,
don't know what
yeah.
that meant, but are you
She
guys picking
said,
up
she
anything?
said, yeah, she feels confident now. She said, all the time the discussion was going on, she wanted to keep being mute, but I think she see it as the right time now after
Right.
after the discussion to drop some of the photos with she and Ida Miles. So that's what she said.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, Elon Musk, he had a major role in electing this current president to the White House. Um, there are people here who will tell you that Elon Musk practically bought the election for Donald Trump.
Mm.
There are reports that he spent upwards of $300 million or more. I know there were times when he was giving out $1 million to members of the audience. He would gather and something they were doing, but people will win $1 million or so on the spot. I know he did that. When the president got elected, he was one of the president's closest confidants. President gave him the Doge program, the Department of something something for efficiency, and he took the hammer to the federal government. He created a lot of misery. He 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 put a lot of people down uh, in an attempt to downsize the government and save the government a lot of money. At the end of it all, too many people lost their jobs. There were debates as to the accuracy of how much he really saved and whether, in fact, it was worth all of the headaches. But a lot of people were made jobless, some very professional people. And then at the end of all of that, he and the president, they started a very public fight. Two billionaires. The egos are big, but nobody can ever be bigger than the president. So apparently, the president got the upper hand on that. The president he threatened to cut some of his contracts because he has a lot of major contracts. He's into the cloud computing business. He has a lot of business with the government in billions and billions of dollars. And so he and Donald Trump, I am not sure if they're back to being friends. I don't think they're fighting anymore. But I'm trying to figure out, how we intend to use him to get into the good graces of the government. Right now, a lot of Liberians are concerned with the visa pause, and the foreign minister is in Davos. I think she's doing her best to promote the country. I know that Elon Musk is independently wealthy. He doesn't need a government, but notwithstanding, I'm trying to figure out, how that meeting, besides encouraging him to invest more in Liberia, how it might have helped to untie right now the visa processing business that Liberia is now, being tangled in. We're now being lumped with 75 different countries around the world, and a lot of Liberians are worried that some of them want a DV, or some of them wanted to play the DV, DV visa and immigrate to the. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah, go ahead. You just step off.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what happened just now, but I got knocked off stage. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping that her meeting with Musk, will be killing two birds with one stone. I hope it will help encourage him to direct more resources to Liberia. We could use a lot of improvement in our communication sector. Elon Musk is very wealthy. I think he's on track if he meets the quota set by his board to become the first. I don't know if trillionaire is a word, but to become the first man to hit the $1 trillion mark. So he has a lot of money. And so the minister met with me. Congratulations to the minister and delegation. I hope they will be able to tie something out of that meeting. And also, hopefully, they can use him to whisper in the ears of the current president to remove Liberia from the visa restriction list. And that brings me to what I wanted to talk about. Um, there are a lot of people who believe that Liberia was put on this visa restriction list because of the statement that was delivered at the UN headquarters by our ambassador to the UN, Louis Brown. Um, I'm of a different opinion, and again, for full disclosure, Louis is my friend, but I honestly don't believe that we found ourselves on this list because of the statement that was delivered by Ambassador Brown. I don't believe that. That's one. Two, for the little that I know of diplomacy, the President of the Republic of Liberia sets the diplomatic policy, the diplomatic tune for the government, and the ambassadors they propagate that policy. They're the one who go ahead to execute it, but they do not originate the policy. So if the government of Liberia joins with the two other non-permanent members of the Security Council from Africa, including Somalia, I believe, and DR Congo, and they issue a statement, the A3, and ask Ambassador Louis Brown to read that statement. I don't believe Ambassador Brown is unilaterally taking a position that the government of Liberia is unaware of. I don't think so. That I don't believe that's how diplomacy works. And so I've heard and read a lot of stuff, being read and being spoken and written about Ambassador Brown's position. I think those who feel that he unilaterally took the government in this direction, I believe they're misreading the situation. Again, I would have said this about anybody, not because Louis is my friend, but I believe whatever position the ambassador took was a position that was communicated to him by the government of the Republic of Liberia. Having said that, I read my friend Frederick Jower's statement, and let me see if I can find this statement and see here what Councillor Jower is saying. I really want to read this. Is maybe not out of it, but he says here statement of apology released by Center for Law and Human Rights Incorporated. This is Frederick J. Webb. This is dated for January 21st, which is yesterday, 2026. He said, what on earth did President Joseph Barker and his administration hope to achieve by appointing Mr. Louis Brown as permanent representative to the United Nations. So that right there, to me, sums up the problem, because now I believe he is making this a personal decision taken by Ambassador Brown, because he is implying that Ambassador Brown injected his personal views into this position statement. He says here, Mr. Brown is known for making immature and undisciplined behavior. His behavior from his days as student leader at the University of Liberia. President Boga and his government are responsible for any negative diplomatic consequences affecting Liberia and Liberians whose ultimate and prime goal is status adjustment and eventually naturalize and become citizens of the United States of America by and through the U.S. immigration visa. So I think this is a misreading of this statement, this position. I don't believe the person of Louis Brown had anything to do with this more than it being the position of the government of Liberia. So he wrote a lot of stuff here, but he says here that what the U.S. government did in Venezuela is something that is sanctioned by what he calls here the universal jurisdiction. I believe, according to him here, universal jurisdiction uh, 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 empowers any government to take action whenever wrong is being done anywhere around the world, and they think that whatever is being done is harmful to the world or harmful to that particular government's interests, and therefore he believes that the condemnation by Ambassador Brown was a misreading of the situation. Again, I don't disagree with him, but I disagree with him in making this a personal decision taken by Louis Brown. This is the position of the government of Liberia. So he ends by saying here, after he said all of that, he says here, I wish to publicly apologize on behalf of Liberians in America and Liberia for our government's premature condemnation of the United Nations without sufficient cause. So Councillor Frederick Jewer is apologizing to Liberians, on behalf of Liberians rather, to the U.S. government for what he perceives as an immature assessment of the U.S. action in Venezuela, which led to the ouster of the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. Now, Councillor Jewer, I have a lot of respect for him. I think he understands international law very well. But I don't know if I necessarily agree with him that Liberia finding itself on the visa restriction list was primarily due to this statement. I don't think so. I believe that with or without this statement, this decision would have taken place. Before this statement was delivered, Liberia was given some time ago 60 days, put on a yellow. There were various categories. Liberia was in the yellow category where we were given 60 days because the U.S. government had expressed reservation about the security of our passport issuing system. There were reports that the U.S. government was having difficulty reading our passport, and that our passport was, seemed to be falling in questionable hands and that kind of thing. So we were already on the radar. So I believe that. Yes, Councillor Joy can go ahead and apologize for his perceived misreading of the U.S. intervention in Venezuela by the Liberian government. I get that, but I don't know if with or without this statement that was read by Ambassador Brown on behalf of the government of Liberia and the other two African nations, we wouldn't have found ourselves on this ban list. So I have my doubts about that. Councilor Joe, if you're listening to me, I hope someday you will find time to come up. Maybe we can have you on, explain your apology, and tell us exactly what you mean by that as a lawyer. Now, Ansel, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So I want to move on to something else, but I'm wondering if you're picking up anything in Liberia. What is the chatter about the statement Liberia being on the visa restriction list, with the Ambassador Brown and the statement at the UN Security Council. What are they saying on the radio, or what are the people saying in the streets? Do people really believe that we were put on this list simply because?
There's some mixed reaction for the public calling on the president to in terms of communicating with the ambassador. And as Ambassador Brian, someone said, also the ambassador have to slow down. Yeah, there's some mixed reaction, and from the audience and on this visa restriction, because we we as from the view as journalists, our information to the public, we try to make them understand, in terms of for this visa restriction, indeed. So we made them understand that non-immigrants and immigrants, especially for people who go into the U.S., maybe for visit, for other short programs or what, it is open for them to travel to the United States. But those that want to go there for maybe to be established, those that have like maybe the DV and other stuff, it rests on as a very big question now. Whether it still hold for them. So the non-immigrant and immigrant. So we're just trying to make them understand. This, and again, they try to politicize it, Mr. Nagwe, because the past administration of a former president, we are former government official, I was mentioned. So when the visa restriction came out, and like brought name by month, so the opposition too, in the news it too, they said for us at least our administration, there were just few people that were sanctioned, but now for this administration, it's the whole country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole country not being sanctioned by
Yeah.
the yeah, by the United States. So we try to get it all in the people to understand this entire sanction visa um, restriction, how it been placed on non-immigrant and immigrants. So the non-immigrants are Liberians, maybe going to the US for other programs, short stay to go and come back. And you
Right.
that go there to stay, you that have maybe programs to go there to get established in America. I think those are the ones that will be affected by this visa restriction.
Well, yeah, thank you very much. Look, I'll be honest with you. I understand the anxiety, the consternation our people must be feeling. Everybody wants to travel. Some people want to come here for various reasons. I get that. And maybe Council Jara may be onto something, but um, I don't know whether I believe the statistics that were released by the U.S. government. They are claiming that this decision was prompted by Liberians finding themselves on the welfare system here in the U.S. I question that. My friend Sinclair Avery, he wrote a nice piece. I was trying to find it, I couldn't find it. He questions that too. I mean, Liberians here in the U.S., people here, people work. I'm not saying that there are no Liberians who are on the welfare system, but I know Liberians here, Liberians work, and there are people here who work two, three jobs. You know, Liberians send home so much money. Liberian in the U.S. and in the diaspora altogether reportedly sent home over 400, $800 million. To me, that that doesn't sound like people who are just sitting on their behind and waiting, for handouts from the U.S. government. But again, the U.S. government put out their statistics. Some 40 something% they believe of Liberians here are on welfare. I question that. I'm not sure how they arrive at that. But the reality is, what I do know is Liberians here, they work. Uh, Liberians here, they work hard. Uh, and to say 40 something% of us here are on welfare, yeah, I question that. So that way, maybe Councillor Joel might have a point that maybe there really isn't that much of a percentage or that much Liberian on welfare, but that this number was fudged because we made that statement and they got upset and they just made something up to put up on his list. Maybe that's the argument Councillor Joel is making. I don't know. But if that is the argument, then I think he's onto something. I really believe that the percentage of Liberians here who are on welfare will be way, way lower than that percentage that was put up by the U.S. government. I believe this decision by the U.S. government has some racial undertone. The majority of the countries on that list are from black and brown countries, and so I'm not sure, whether with or without that statement, we wouldn't have found ourselves on that. I mean, this president is known for not making secret his disdain for people of color. I mean, he calls our countries SO countries. We all know that. I mean, look at what is happening in Somalia. Yes, Ilhan Omar is a Democrat and she has a democratic politics, but I don't believe she speaks for all Somalis. I mean, but the president seems to believe that, and he just dumps on all Somalis. And today, look at what is happening in Minnesota. People are being hunted down, arrested. Minors are being arrested. There are reports of a 5-year-old who was detained along with his parent. It's just really it's sad that this is what is happening today in this great country, the greatest country on earth, the most magnanimous, the most kind-hearted country that we know on earth. But yet, this president and the Republicans right now they're turning everything on its head. But I doubt the statistics they are putting out of Liberians who they claim to be on welfare. I don't have any statistics to the contrary, but I still doubt what they have. I don't believe it. Based on what I know of the Liberian community, my wife here is the vice president of Yola. We work with the Liberian communities all over the place, and people work, and so to claim that over 40% of us are on welfare, and because of that, we are being placed on a visa restriction. I have my doubts about that. All right, my friend. I don't believe we'll have any calls tonight. Should we do that to get to hear what the people say? While you're getting that ready, let me welcome
Yeah,
a few of our friends here. While you get yourself ready,
yeah,
let
you
me
go ahead.
yes, let me welcome Maurice A. Jabate. Maurice watching from his CMC corner, the Point Four Junction in Monrovia. Yeah, my wife and I were at Point Four Junction about last week or so. I think last week, Tuesday or Wednesday, we were in Corwell. We drove around there, but it's good to have you here, Maurice. Of course, Jerome was with us, and let me welcome, shout out to my boy Jerome Gaiman. Thank God he has arrived back in the States in one piece, safe and sound and well. Thank God. All that stuff he was eating, he didn't get sick. Eating pepper. The man was eating pepper like he been eating pepper in like the man has not eating pepper in a long time. I was scared for him. We went out a couple of times. One of the places we went was Fusion. They had the pepper color and the wings, and those things are nice. I gotta say, I gotta keep saying they didn't pay me to run any advertisement, but they do have very good pepper color and wings over there. Jerome and I and my wife, we went there I think twice. We and some of our friends. Their wings are very good, but I always felt sorry for Jerome. Jerome would be eating that thing, and all his shirt collar, everything will get wet from the sweat. and he will not stop eating it because it was so good. But I'd like to welcome my boy back on this side, Jerome Gilman. It's good to have you back here, my brother. I'm sure somehow, somewhere we'll get together. He called me yesterday. He called me, and for some reason, I felt really tired. That's how I missed the show yesterday, and so I took a nap. I came from work, and I was beat, tired. So I took a nap, and Jerome said, old people take naps. So that way he called me an old man. And so people behind me with a sleeping business here, standing with us, we had a whole show the other day talking about how I sleep on the show. I don't sleep on the show, but that's how you feel about it. So, but anyway, that's that. So I'd like to welcome Jerome back. It's good to have you back. I'm glad you came back in one piece, safe and sound. So I'd like to welcome Oliver Gil Prince. Oliver says he's watching from Nimba County, Ganta City. Oliver, thanks for joining us. Leo Sese is watching us. Good afternoon from my end. So it must be in the afternoon wherever he is. And also, Leo says you should send him the link. Leo Sese, you have his number? Leo says, I think I may have met Leo anyway. I'm not sure. So Leo said you should send him the link. Last night I know Dr. Richardson had said something about him coming on because he was very active in the chat last night. And I think Dr. Richardson said she wished he would come on someday, to talk about some of the stuff. So maybe you just send him the link, let him join us. Abdullah Dukle. Dukle is following closely from Monrovia. Abdullah, thanks for joining us. MK Kenneth. MK Kenneth is watching from Monrovia. MK, thanks for joining us. Go ahead, Ansel. You want to say something? No? All right, you're muted, so I can hear you.
Trying to get the production team attention so the guy can send a link to the.
Got you. Okay.
So I'm trying to get the guy's attention.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So Leo, they're working on sending you the link, so you can join us, my brother. You said FBI agents were in Liberia as well. This is what Leo is saying. I think Leo knows what he's talking about. And so we'd like to welcome our PR man, Lasso Croman. Lasso does a lot of work for the CMC on social media. Lasso is here again. He said, Lasso, it's good to have you here. So those are some of the people we see. I'm sure there are others that may have missed, but we'd like to welcome you all. Thanks for joining us. This is the CMC Corner. This is the political lounge where we come to talk primarily CMC. We do talk other stuff, but our main news is about the CMC, what we do in Liberia, what the movement is doing, and to encourage you to join us. This is the movement. And now is the time. So join us. Go to cmclib.com, sign up, and join us. So Ansu is trying to set up so that we may probably take a few calls and get input from the audience on some of the stuff we're talking about, so that you can have your say. So while he's doing that, let me talk about what is happening. Let's talk a little bit about Nimba politics, Nimba, Liberia, and also, CMC politics. So a couple of days ago, the Asala Mattel bill, is very political. We'll try to keep it as light as possible. But you have to understand, Asala Mattel is in Nimba. It is also in Buchanan. Asala Mattel, we understand, has I think the rail, right, and they have the access to the rail that leads from Lamco, former Lamco, come to Buchanan, Port of Buchanan. HPX is also in town. I think HPS wants access to the rail as well. I believe HPS is present in Guinea. I believe there is a large deposit of natural minerals that is supposed to be coming through the port of Buchanan. Now, HPS apparently doesn't have much access to the rail as Asala Mattel does. And so apparently HPS has been trying to gain access to the rail because they want to bring the iron ore from Guinea, where it is very difficult to take it to the port of Conakry, where it is located, because it's closer to the Liberian side. Well, while all of this is going on, we understand Asala Mattel is up for renewal the MDA is about to be renewed, and so the contract is being structured. So the first thing that happened is the political leader of the CMC, Musa Hassan Belete, came out on January 15th to register his rejection of the proposed ratification because of the form and manner in which it was being couched, it was being written. So he raised a number of points. He said, one, he will not be signing it because it locks Liberia into a generation contract without adequate national protection. It locks Liberia in a generation contract. What does that mean? It locks Liberia in a contract that will span several generations. If you remember the Firestone contract, 1926 to 2026, that contract was signed for 100 years. I think it doesn't make sense for us to be signing contracts that will extend way beyond our lifetime. I don't think it is smart. You can sign a contract for 10 years, maybe 15 years might even be a stretch. And then you re-opt it, you reauthorize it, and you make adjustments to reflect the changing reality. Because you know what? We live in a dynamic world. Nothing is constant. Situations change, conditions change. A lot of changes happen. So you want to keep reauthorizing to reflect what is happening. And so the political leader of the CMC, who is also the representative of District Number 7 in Nimba County, came out and registered his opposition to the current MDA. So that was one. Two, he said, besides this locking Liberia in a generational contract without adequate protection, he said it attempts to replace statutory mining payment with a phased contract figure, creating serious revenue and legal risk. You know, uh, let me tell you this that I know about, the little I know about what they call futures market, and you should take this from Musa Zambele. He's a businessman. He understands that. It doesn't make sense to take a product that is tied to the world market, right, and lock it into a price. It doesn't make sense because prices on the world market fluctuate. You have to make provision for that. Yes, the price could go down, but it could also go up. So you come and you sign a contract for, I don't know, 100 years. You say, okay, the iron ore will sell it, for instance, will sell it $50 per pound, or whatever they weigh in. So you sign up for 100 years. In 100 years, do you know what the price could climb up to? I can tell you, when I came from school, I was buying and selling gold. At the time, an ounce of gold was selling for, I think, $30-something. Right now, it's over $4,000. This is 1989, 1990, right? So look at that big difference. So you come and lock yourself into this agreement at a fixed price, not taking into consideration the possibility of price fluctuation. It doesn't make sense. So any businessman would tell you that that doesn't make sense. So it says here, it attempts to replace statutory mining payment with a fixed contract figure, creating serious revenue and legal risk. I don't see why anybody will argue with this. Number 3 here, the Honorable Ability is saying he rejected this agreement because it risks turning national rail and port infrastructure into private choke point, meaning they're giving too much authority to one entity to the extent that it could now appear to be a private undertaking. What is the private entity? Let me tell. HBS is knocking on the door. And I can tell you this. Competition makes good business. It makes for good pricing when you encourage competition. We all know the situation, two boys fighting for one girl, the girl get plenty gift, whatever that is. But it is always good for competition to happen. When you allow for competition, you get the best for your money. So the honorable is saying, the way the agreement is structured right now, it risks turning the national rail and port infrastructure into a private choke point. And I could be missing the point he's trying to make here, but this is how I understand what he's saying. I want you to understand this. I am not here to speak for the Honorable Musa Hassan Belete, but I'm just telling you how I understand his reasons for rejecting the current MDA reauthorizing ArcelorMittal. So number 4 here, he says it offers community development language that is not enforceable enough to protect local communities. We talked about this some months back, how the EPA was raising concerns about the impact that this mining was having to the community. The rivers, the wildlife, the aqua life, all of these were going the way they were conducting business. They weren't paying enough attention to protecting the ecosystem around this place. And so the honorable is expressing, his fears about this. It says here it offers community development language that is non-enforceable. The language is vague. You can't hold them to any responsibility the way the language is written. I haven't seen the language yet, but I believe the honorable Asa Musa Belede has seen the language, and so this is one of the reasons why he refused to sign the agreement. And then 5, he says it carries long-term risk involving governance, land, and accountability. Any agreement of this magnitude must align with constitutional responsibilities, lawful land processes, strict transparency requirements, and public accountability. I don't see what is wrong with that. So these are the reasons provided by Honorable Musa Zambeleti. So he goes further by saying, in conclusion, and I'll read this, he said, I urge the legislature, he said, I want the legislature to think seriously about this. One, he's reiterating what he said. He wants the restructuring of the rail and port infrastructure under a regulated framework with clear government oversight, transparent tariffs, non-discriminatory access, and enforceability capacity allocation. 2, align all fees and rents with Liberian statutes by removing in lieu of language and ensuring statutory surface rent and lease fees apply, with any additional payment negotiated transparently as add-ons, not substitutes. So when they say in lieu of, in place of, he wants the language to be clear. Don't be talking dubious language, because this is a generational contract you're proposing as it is. And so he wants clear language that is enforceable, unambiguous. Don't leave people scratching their head. Yeah, I don't really know whether this is what they were trying to tell us. No, it should be clear. Let everybody understand it on all sides. Number 3, strengthen performance obligations and remedies, including real step-in rights and strong penalties for failure to meet real expansion milestones. How many times have we not said this? You get this for the contract, you don't set enough benchmarks, enough milestones, at the end of year 5, this is what we expect you to do. At the end of year 7, this is what we expect you to do. At the end, he wants clear real expansion milestones. 4, make community obligations binding with escrow-backed funding, independent audits, and remedies that compel delivery. Again, how can we argue with this? And 5, add periodic public interest and fiscal reopeners so that the Bureau can review and adjust key terms at defined intervals to reflect inflation, market conditions. This is what we're telling you. National development priorities and performance. This is what we're telling you. You can't negotiate a contract and lock yourself into a price that does not allow for price adjustments. Why? Because you're dealing with iron ore, which is tied to the world market. The world market is always fluctuating, because of what happens around the world. Right now, look at what's happening in Greenland. The whole world is in flux. So it doesn't make sense to bring yourself into an agreement that would tie you for several years at a fixed price. You will end up losing. So, but this is the letter that the Honorable Musa Zambelete wrote. This is January 15th. So now, after he wrote this letter, Senator Twain, I had this here, but you gotta give me a second here. You know how these things are. I had this letter earmarked here, but apparently social media has decided otherwise. So I gotta find it. Let me see here. Senator Twain. So this is what is Senator. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Uh, yeah, I got number yes here. Okay, my wife said I should stop, so I'll stop. But I'm looking for the senator's statement. Um, and Ansu, let me know when you're ready. I know you're trying to settle back there uh, to take some calls. So give me a second here, people. Cynthia Twain. Okay. I can't find it. Anyway, but the senator is calling on his colleagues in the Senate to exercise caution as they deliberate on this new MDA for Salametel. Senator Yat Twain is calling on his colleagues to exercise caution in renegotiating this MDA that is reauthorizing Salametel. And so, as a result of his expression of caution, the Honorable Asa Musa Belete came out today to write him an open letter. So this is an open letter to Senator Yat Twain. He says here, Dear Senator Twain, I have watched you calm, firm, and dignified make your case before your colleagues. You spoke for NIMBA without arrogance, without insults, and without fear. That meant a lot to me, and I know it has meant a lot to our people. Let me be honest. The House of Representatives did not do what it ought to have done. It failed to ensure that the interests of the country and the interests of NIMBA were fully protected. That reality is painful, but even in disappointment, I have not lost hope because leadership is not only shown when things are easy, leadership is revealed when the moment is heavy, when pressure is high, and when the crowd is silent. This is your moment. This is Musa Zambeletic advising his young brother I'm not sure, but I think the Honorable Musa Asambelete is the senior brother to Senator Yatoyen. But he says to him, "This is your moment, Senator. Do not drop the ball. Do not bow to intimidation. Do not allow anyone to make you feel that standing up for NIMBA is standing against the government. Your effort is good for the government. Your effort is good for the rescue agenda. Your effort protects the image of leadership because leadership must never look away when our people are being shortchanged. Those who want to shut down debate, shut down scrutiny, and shut down fairness just to rush an agreement that does not fully serve the people must not be allowed to prevail. Not in Nimba, not in Liberia. Even if at this time many of us feel powerless, I want you to know this. You are not alone. I stand with you. The people of Nimba stand with you in spirit, in prayer, and in expectation. You have given voice to what our people have been feeling, and you have done it with courage and clarity. I will continue to engage across the aisle and beyond it to ensure that this agreement is reviewed in a way that truly benefits Liberia. If it benefits Liberia, it will benefit the president. It will benefit the Unity Party. But most importantly, it will benefit our people. That must always be the highest standard. That must always be the highest standard. Be courageous, Senator. It is a tall order, and at times it will feel like a lonely war. But I believe that one determined voice grounded in truth and driven by love of country can make a difference. Push, persist, do your best to ensure that NIMBA prevails, that our people receive what is rightfully theirs, and that Liberia receives what is rightfully ours. Be strong, be steady, be a patriot. With respect and solidarity, the Honorable Musa Asambelete, represented District Number 7, Niba County, Republic of Liberia. So this is a letter from Honorable Belete offering solidarity and support to his colleague in the other house of the legislature, the Senate. We know Senator Yatoyen has been very vocal on this Esala Metel matter. We know sometime back, I think it was the 1 something billion that was being reported where the president went into NIMBA and the stakeholders being themselves and other people, meaning the legislators and other people, were apparently left out of the meeting. And Senator Yatoyen was one of the first to voice his displeasure. And so I think the Honorable Musa Azambelete is right. The senator has been calm and steady and very outspoken in the House of Legislature and has registered his concerns with the manner in which these things have been, these discussions are proceeding. And so the Honorable Belete wants him to know that he will have a friend in Musa Hassan Belete, and he stands in solidarity with him, and he will continue to support him, and he will in turn do his part from the House of Legislature, from the House of Representatives, to make sure that the Liberian government does right by NIMBA, by the people of NIMBA. So again, congratulations to the Senator Yatoyen for joining voice with the Honorable Musa Hassan Belete in standing up for NIMBA to make sure that this agreement, when it is done, the people of Nimba benefit, the people of Liberia benefit, and it shouldn't just be uh, the investors coming in, scooping up our resources, and going away to go and live off in sunshine and in golden parachute retirement. All right, Ansu, are you there? If you're ready, before I move on to something else, um, let me know whether we've sent a link to Leo, whether we're taking calls. So let me know. I know you're in the back, working in the back, setting up. Uh, Ansu, are you there? Okay. Uh, Apparently, Ansu is busy. So yesterday, we discussed the Asset Recovery Commission and the work they're doing, and how we thought, that they could be more even-handed in going after perceived, you know, um, wrong, inappropriate accusation of wealth by individuals in government in Liberia, and you know, but we were concerned with the manner and form in which they are going after these people. They seem to be consistently going after members of the immediate past former government, whereas there are reported transgressions by people serving in this current government. Well, so one of the most recent case in point is they're going to court and asking the court to require the former first lady, I believe, Madame Claudia, to present documentation supporting her foundation's expenditure. How you know uh, the funds were acquired to, or are being acquired, or were acquired to set up this foundation and to also run the programs. Well, so she has called on the court, asking the court to quash this subpoena in the asset probe. I was just going over this. I haven't read out of it, but here it said the Claho Foundation has asked Criminal Court A to throw out a subpoena compelling it to release records tied to its construction and funding, arguing that the court lacks jurisdiction because no criminal case or large action is pending against the foundation. So it looks like this is going to play out in the media for quite a while. The asset recovery, the asset recovery was captured in the $1.23 billion budget. I believe this budget expects the asset recovery to bring in around, I think, $10 million into the budget as part of the revenue to be expected to be generated. And so you will expect that the asset recovery, commission or team is going to be vigorously going out there trying to bring in money to close the gap in the budget so that we don't have a $10 million gap. I'm not saying this is why they're going after Claudia, but the question remains, are the former government officials the only people in Liberia right now who may have gotten help wealth illegally? And I'm not saying don't go after them. Don't get me wrong. I think it is a good call to go after anyone who is found to have acquired wealth from the government and the taxpayers inappropriately. So I think it's a good call. But the question that we're asking is, if you're going to go after the Cloudware Foundation, if you're going to go after Finda Bondo, are you going after Amin Moda? Did he turn over? Um, did he restitute the money for that 90 something $1,000 vehicle? I don't know. I'm not picking. I mean, I'm just calling names of people that we know in this current government who were publicly chastised by the very government. I believe James Momo, that's his name, I believe, the former superintendent of this MCSS. There were news reports of all the stuff that he did. I'm not sure if it is him or the guy from L Triple ROC. I'm missing the names, or I could be. But these are some of the cases that we are aware of people who have been reported to have mismanaged, government resources. What happened to these people? Is that asset recovery going after them? I don't know. I believe the asset recovery made an attempt on Mr. Kamara from LTA. I believe he was cleared, if I'm not mistaken. You know, how's that possible? You know, so that is the question we are asking. Yes, we think the asset recovery should go ahead and vigorously go after people, who may have acquired wealth, you know, uh, through questionable means. Rosalind Swakogo Dennis, for instance, what happened to her case? You know, she was in the press, a lot of reporting, and I think she got suspended. You know, purchase of vehicles, I believe, reportedly. One of the vehicles assigned to a family member or something like that. Well, what happened to that case? So what we are saying is yes, the Asset Recovery Commission should go ahead and do its work, but uh, you want to be professional about it. You want to be balanced about it. Uh, and, you know, we believe there are other cases far bigger than some of the cases they're tackling. Yes, they may want to start small, and practice, acquire experience and all of that before they go after the big cases. We get that. But how long does the learning curve have to be? It's being what today is the second, I believe, anniversary of this government. So now, by tomorrow, they don't have 4 years anymore. They have under 4 years. It will be in a third year, which is going to be midway into their tenure. When is the action going to start? So, but yeah, so we just started to talk about this briefly. Madam Weir has gone to court, calling on the Criminal Court A to quash this subpoena because they claim there is no jurisdiction available to them to go into this matter. So, what is going to happen? We have no idea. We have no idea. All right. I'm still waiting for you. We talked about the situation yesterday at the Capitol building. I believe Dr. Richardson. I think we talked about it briefly toward the end of the show, but let's talk about it a little bit more. The situation happened at the Capitol building. We got another video clip. Apparently, RIA also suffered a power failure as well. You know, and we understand LEC now is beginning to show um, signs of power shedding because I think the rainy season is I think I got to check my my numbers, but I think the rainy season is approaching now. The dry season is ending, and so I mean the I'm sorry, the rainy season is slowing down. There's not enough water now, to power our turbines. So apparently, the low water level is beginning to exert pressure on our power generating capacity, and so now it's starting to show. Um, we got a clip yesterday that the RIA also suffered power outage just like the Capitol building did. So here is my question: if the Capitol building of all places, and this is not the first time, this is not the first time, if the Capitol building of all places is not able to keep the lights on, um, how much more, you know, about ordinary people? You know, when are we going to, you know, wrap our arms around this problem? There is a lot of good stuff that has been said about the current MD at the Liberia Electricity Corporation, but there's so much you can do with so little. I don't know his circumstances, but I'm going to venture here to say, if he's not getting the necessary support that is necessary to do the required overhaul, replacement of this machine, that stuff, and no matter how much expertise he may come with, um, he's going to have problems. It's a systemic problem. The problem we are experiencing in Liberia, you know, it's a systemic problem. So we understand, besides the capital building, LEC also, not LEC, RIA also, and I can tell you, um, Liberia is hot. Yes, I lived there before, and when you're there and you get used to the heat, yes, but when you come from somewhere else different and you come in, it is really hot. Um, 2 trips ago, my wife and I and our son, we were coming through there, and I think they were using the generators, not enough to generate enough electricity, and I think they turned the AC off. And because the terminal is in a glass enclosure, it got glass all around it. Glass is beautiful, but glass can hold heat, you know. And so that place was like a furnace. So when there's no light and there's no AC in there, uh, it's a problem. It's a problem. Again, these are some of the considerations that bring investors in the country. You won't believe it. These are some of the little things. The discomfort, the capacity to stay connected, because when there's no light, servers go out, internet connection goes out, Wi-Fi is out, and the good luck, if I should say, is that Liberia is 5 hours ahead of most of, well, the northeastern coast of the United States, where most business is done. Yes, business is done in California on the West Coast. That's even better, because Liberia is 5 hours now ahead of the East Coast, ahead of New York, the financial capital of the world. But LA, where business is also done, Liberia is 8 hours ahead of LA, because we are 3 hours ahead of LA. So that's a good thing. So by the time we get up and suffer through our problems and try to find a way, most of the world on this side is still asleep. So that's one lucky thing. But by, say, 12 to 1 o'clock Liberian time, the world on this side is beginning to wake up. So hopefully by then we would have found a way around the problem. Other than that, it's a problem. You in Liberia. Some of the people, they work while they travel. It's just the nature of the world now. People work virtually. So even though some of the people are away from office, but they have work to do. And so they take their computers with them, and they work while they travel. And in order to be able to do that, you have to stay connected. You have to understand this, my people. This seems like a minor thing, but there is a lot of business now that is done by e-commerce. You just done online. A lot of people do. A lot of people now working online. To stay connected, you stay connected to your office, wherever you are around the world. That you have, the power has to be on. Power has to be on. And these are some of the things that are giving our country a hard time. They may seem minor, but these are major considerations for some of these multinational corporations to pick a spot as a destination you know. So you want to come to Liberia? I can tell you, those of us who go in and out, we face challenges, but we love our country, and so. But when you leave, like right now in the United States, I think we're on what, 5G, the platform we're on here. I think when I was going 2 years ago, T-Mobile, when I called them, they were telling us Sierra Leone is, I think, on 2G. The guys were telling me we're on 1G. Now I don't know whether this is true or not, but you can tell when you're in Liberia. You leave your apartment, you leave the radius of your Wi-Fi in the apartment, you have problem. Can't even call on WhatsApp. Let alone, be able to stream anything, upload video. No, you can't. You should be able to do that. You should be able to do that. Business people, they have messages to send, they have communications to send, they have calls to make. You cannot tie them to their apartment. They're driving, they're on the road. Yeah, I understand Starlink is there now, so probably that's a good thing. And I'm glad, again, I said earlier from the beginning of the show that I was happy the foreign minister was able to meet with Mr. Elon Musk, who we understand has brought Starlink to Liberia. So who knows? Maybe we could extract another commitment from him. So hopefully that's a good thing. But the problem right now is that Starlink is still not affordable by the majority of our people. Even though I understand the price now for the kit to install is, I think initially around 400 change, but I think it's around 200 change now. I'm not sure. So eventually, hopefully, they will find a way to make it affordable. But staying connected is a problem. How do you stay connected? You have to have a constant supply of electricity. A constant supply. You know, the servers, they have to be running for the Wi-Fi to be available. You have to stay connected. If you're going around and encouraging business people to come to your country, these are some of the considerations they are, these are some of the questions they're asking. Why are you connected? You know, you can't be paying for data out of your nose and expect business to run. I mean, some of the places here now, here we're on all day. No, I mean, 24/7. Nobody turns off, the Wi-Fi or the anymore to worry about data. No, we don't pay again by minute. We don't do that. But I know we still do that in Liberia here. That's why most of the time people see you, your Wi-Fi signal is on, they think you're up, and people messaging you. Sometimes, of course, our people here want to see daylight in Monrovia. So my people, know right now you're 5 hours ahead of us. So when it is 7 o'clock in the morning in Monrovia, I think it's just 2 o'clock in the morning here, but you got to take that into consideration when you're calling someone. You got to make sure from now on until I think in March, right now, you're 5 hours ahead of us. Just do that calculation. Before you call somebody, just count 5 hours down so you know whether you're not waking them from sleep, But anyway, but those are some of the questions. If you cannot have a constant supply of electricity, you have a major investment problem. And some of these people, they will not say this. They will do their feasibility studies, but those are some of the questions they are trying to answer. How connected is this place? If I go in, am I going to be cut off from my business? Will I be able to conduct business while I'm in country? You know, uh, no, if you're going to lose business because you are visiting a location, um, it's easy. This most of the people they will say, no, I'm not coming because I want to stay connected. Now I know people find all kinds of means to stay connected, but do the best you can to make it available to the majority of our people. There are a lot of people who make money so many different ways around the world, in the US, in Ghana, in Nigeria, in other parts, because they're able to get on the internet and do stuff. I'm not even talking about the young people who are doing the TikTok, the influencers and all that. There are lots of ways people make money without depending on government. But you have to create that environment, the big English enabling environment. What is that environment? You got to make electricity available. You got to make connectivity possible for people. You got to give them the capacity to stay connected to the internet. How do you do that? One of the things you can do for them is provide a stronger platform. We were told fiber cable was coming, but now apparently, or if you can negotiate with Starlink, so that they can continue to drop the price and make it affordable for the majority of our people. But you got to let the people stay connected. You have to. That's how commerce moves now. Most of the commerce that is moving now, you know, people are moving stuff virtually, you know. Um, Education. I mean, I'm in education. You have no idea, the kind of stuff we do now. I have never opened a textbook in I don't know how many years. Everything is online, My curriculum, everything is online. Everything is online. You buy the license from the publisher, they give you the license, X number of students for X number of years. You have the license, you know. They send you the books. Each student can have, they have the license for each student. They log on, you know. They send you the teacher's copy, teacher's edition, you know. And you can assign work anywhere. When I'm in Liberia, sometimes I'm working, I send work back to my students, you know. How am I able to do that? Because here, most of the stuff is done virtually. Virtually. That's the future. So when we come on, and we're talking about all these things, we're not talking because we're so smart. We just feel that our government should do the best they can to do better by our people. Um, that is why you are the leader. Leader, you lead us. You should be able to see beyond the horizon, do things that we're not able to do, because you see things that we're not able to see with the ordinary people. That's why you are the leader. You should always try to make a way, find a way to make our lives better. That's the responsibility of the Liberian government. Don't give us excuses. Don't give us excuses. Find a way to make it better for us. So when the power is going in the Capitol building, the people who appropriate funding to the various agencies and various programs, they themselves don't have light. What does that say about us? I mean, let's be honest. It is not funny. What does it say about us? I'm getting text messages here, my man are saying, my man, you're talking American talk, but hey, there is nothing wrong with comparing yourself to what is supposed to be. That's how you strive. You set a target. Yeah, you may never be like America, but you set a target and you work towards it. You know, we should have expectation. We have expectations of our government. Our government should be able to help us make it. So again, I come back to my friend, and yes, my cousin sister, Sarah Yanti Beslow. We're meeting with Elon Musk today. I don't know what the meeting was about. We don't have any readout on that. But I hope something will come out of that meeting. Something will come out of that meeting that will have something to do with our people's connectivity, or maybe more. See how Elon Musk, hopefully, they will tell us what the meeting was about. I saw the photos. Congratulations to Madam Minister. Continuing to push. I think you're doing a wonderful job. You made some missteps. I don't agree with everything you've done, but most of what you've done so far has been great. Proud of you. Hopefully, we can find a way to make it better for us. You know, but yeah. So the power went out. Power went out at the Roberts. When investors come, what is the first place they go? Roberts. How do you bring investors in the country? They're coming to look around, right? You're telling your friend, hey, you should take a look at my country. We got so much beautiful, lush green forest. We got so much. What is this? We besides salt water, we have fresh water. We have all of this stuff. You can come in and do a lot of stuff. It's a virgin country, lots of investment opportunities. Come and take a look. But the first thing they see when you get off the plane is an airport that has no light in it. I mean, how do you take them beyond that point? How? How do you what you know what they say about first impression? How do you take anybody beyond Roberts Field when there's no light? Most of the people just take a room at Farmington and turn around and go, you know. But let's assume they say, okay, I'll take a look. Then you put them on the road, before you get a shuffling, you on the washboard road, you know, for almost 30 minutes, your car bouncing up and down. You know, I don't know, man. I love my country. I like, I'm always upbeat about it, but we have to be honest. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. Um, I didn't support this government. I supported CPP, but this government won. And I am one of those who were saying we got to give them the space to plant their feet on the ground, give them some time. So we give them in this country, they will have the first 100 days. But the president himself made a 90-day pronouncement. We said, okay, let's give them that time. The 90 days came at pass. 100 days came at pass. 180 days came at pass. 365 days have come and passed. We're now in the 700 some more days, because 365 times 2, I think that's like what, 700 and probably, I don't know the math, but it is over 700 days. So 2 years have passed. 2 years. So yes, the problems that our country is faced with are enormous. We get it. And you can't solve them all at once. We get it too. But there are just some basic things you're able to do. One, you can stop by trying to make it worse. You can move forward instead of coming backwards. You can start by engendering confidence in the governance system. You can start by not trying to remove a speaker illegally. You don't give a rat's, you will remove the speaker anyway. That thing is still haunting us. Almost all the reports that come out, they talk about our governance system. We haven't been able to get a handle on that. The MCC compact comes out, governance, weak governance system. U.S. report, country report come out. Everybody talks about our governance system. Then the corruption, the corruption. SOEs, state-owned enterprises, are not contributing their share to the budget. Why? Because the money they're supposed to put in the treasury for all of us, they go to the presidency, the people in the orbit of the president, they pull little things in their pocket. That's what we're hearing. Because they are supposed to make them to bring their contribution and put it in the budget so that the budget will take care of all of us. But it appears a few people receive the brown envelopes, and the SOE, when we say the SOE, we're talking about entities like the LPROC, Amos Tue and company. He joined forces with Prince Moi and Emmanuel Nukwe, and we understand the vice president, they came and squeezed the political leader of the CMC and took his Shrimp away from him practically. He was expected to contribute, I think, $5 million to the budget. I missed the figures, Amos Tue, but I think he contributed, I don't know, 600, 500,000 or whatever it is. So all this fight over, storage fee and all of that, what was it about? They are not contributing to the budget. National Port Authority, Sekou Dukle, is the president's closest confidant. I mean, I would say that. I know that for sure. Is the president unaware that he's not contributing? His port is not contributing his expected share to the national budget? I think the president knows. Should he say something about it? Absolutely. Is he saying something about it? We're not sure. I don't think so because the situation hasn't changed. You know, so these income generating entities are expected to contribute a share to the national budget, but they're not. They're not. So we're undermining our own development. You know, the sources that we're supposed to get money from to build our country and make it attractive for investors to come and help us move the country forward. And the investors, some of those investors could be very well you in Monrovia, in Liberia. Investors don't always have to come from overseas, but in order for you to deploy your creative genius, you have to be giving, a fighting chance. You got to have the opportunity. You have to have the enabling environment to make you more creative. There are a lot of very creative people in Liberia, but we're being stifled by the lack of 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 the environment to showcase our creativity and profit from it. There are a lot of Liberian people who have various ways of solving problems, and they say, necessity is the mother of all creation. When you're faced with a problem, you always try to find a solution. Well, when you find that solution and it works for you, the next step is to find a way to make it marketable so you make money. And there are a lot of people who could be doing this, but we are limited by the lack of capacity to do so. What do most people do around the world? You generate a small solution. You come to big companies like Walmart. You tell them, look, you have this problem. I have this solution. So I want to patent my creation and bring it to your store. These are big chain stores. Even if the thing is worth $25 in Monrovia and you bring it to Walmart, you sell it for $10 because of the volume of their market, the number of people who go to their store, you will still make a killing. But you have to be able to do that. You can sit right in Monrovia and negotiate with Walmart. But to do that, you have to have the capacity. You got to be connected to do that. Target. There are a lot of people, you see these people all around the world. They appear on ABC and all these people, they come up with these very, very funny ideas that you already have. Some of them occur to you in Monrovia. But because you don't have that capacity to showcase what you're doing, we sit there, you sit on your good invention, you can't market it, you can't make money from it because you're not connected to the rest of the world. This is why we keep talking about connectivity. Electricity has to be present. The strong internet connection. You got to have Wi-Fi. You got to be able to upload a video. You got to be able to video conference with somebody around thousands of miles around the world. You don't have to come to the city. You can sit down right there on Camp Johnson Road and video conference with somebody in Japan, in Korea, in North Dakota, in California. You can do that. To do that, you have to have the signal. You got to have the connection, the connectivity to be able to do that. And you can make your money sitting right there in Monrovia. So when we talk about creating the enabling environment, government is supposed to do that. Sometimes the policies that they make get in the way of people who could come in to help us. Yes, some of the stuff we can do locally, but sometimes you need somebody who has already done it elsewhere to come in and show you how to do it. And how are these people going to come in? The environment has to be conducive. You got to have electricity. Who can come in there defending themselves all day they're sweating? You see people in the video, in the picture. Most people at major function, they're sweating all day because the place is so hot. And these are some of the reasons why people drop in there, here and there, because the system is overheating. You're hot all the time. Your insides are hot. Everywhere. And some of the old people, you take medicine here and there. You're so hot. Medicine, the molecules begin to react all kinds of ways they're not supposed to react. And that's some of the reasons why we say, yeah, there's a friend, he collapsed. He had a cardiac arrest and all of the. I'm not saying but these are possibilities. So when we have comfort, we prolong our lives. You live longer. Government has a responsibility to facilitate that, to make it possible. The rest of it will be left to us. They gave us the opportunity, we take it and we run with it. You know, I have seen people in Monrovia. I've seen some very creative, creativity in Monrovia. I see some of the things that people do in Monrovia. Some of the things can be marketed. Sit down right in Monrovia and and market your skill. But you got to stay connected. So where am I going with all this? When we sit down here and you sit in Monrovia too, you see the Honorable Capitol building going out in darkness, right? That is a problem. It's a problem. It's a management problem. It's a leadership problem. It is a problem. If that can happen there, it can happen anywhere else. Roberts International going up in darkness. Yeah, people say the port is the gateway to Liberia's economy. Yeah, the airport is also it's part of, I guess, the port management system. I'm not sure, but the airport, you know, that's where first impressions are made when people come to the country. They come to Roberts. The place is in darkness. Who do you think is going to come to put their money in Liberia when they see that kind of situation? They land in that kind of situation. So we got to do better. CMC join us. We think we have solutions to most of these problems. We made some of our views known. You listen to some of the speeches by the political leader of the CMC. He is our representative. So when he speaks our collective view. So we believe that there is a lot of good that we can do together as Liberians. We need to find a way to cut the waste, fraud, and abuse. Take that money and invest in some of what we are talking about. The CMC believes there is no reason why anybody working in the government in Liberia should be making more than $5,000. Take that money that we're paying these people, invest that money. The CMC believes the $200 million that Asola is bringing, that is already captured in the budget, which has led to increases to allotments to people like the regime speaker. Why are we doing that? This is a one-shot deal. Smart money says you take that money and create investable opportunities and grow that money. Put it in agriculture. The CMC has said, take that money, put it in a cooperative bank, let the farmers, I understand agriculture employs over 60% of the workforce in Liberia. Take that money, put it in there, open it up to the farmers, let them come in, take loans, and improve their farming techniques, mechanize their farming, Instead of the back-breaking work they do, people bend over all day with a calculator, cutting and cutting. You can provide an opportunity to take loan and go and get tractors and get, machine so that they can improve the method and manner in which they farm. And when you do that, you produce more. When I was a kid, and I know this is still happening, there was a hungry season in where my parents lived, in Barobo, Maryland County, because the farm we made was never big enough, to feed us throughout the year. There was a time when the food would run out before the next harvest season. And those times, I can tell you, those were no joke. I mean, we were eating breadfruit, we were eating green plantain, green banana, cassava, anything. Even those were hard to come by because of the way we farm. You want to mechanize the farming, make the farm big so the harvest will be big, so everybody will have enough and then sell some and make money. So that $200 million, the government could have made some of it, if not all of it, put it in the place and find a way to work with the people so that they track that money. People take the loan. Maybe instead of one person coming and taking some money, maybe a group of people could band themselves into a cooperative, take the loan and go and do the susu that we always do, We all get together and go on your farm. We work there. We use the machine, make your farm. Then we come on my farm. We did that when we were young. But give the money out to the people so that they will be empowered and grow more food. I understand we spend around $11 million every year subsidizing importation of rice. We'll get $200 million, take that money, give it to the farmers, empower them so that they will produce more yield, make big farms, and bring in more food. But what do? We get $200 million. We increase allotments to, big people. Speaker got, I think, $400,000 increase or whatever. Why he didn't man when I be dancing zombie dance every day? He happy. I'm happy. He got his allotment. President office got his, vice president office got his, speaker, deputy speaker, pro tem, they all got theirs. And there will probably be a budget shortfall again because we know SOEs are not bringing in their contributions. Whenever there is a shortfall, when a shortfall means the government said they will collect the budget, they will collect $1.3 billion in revenue or whatever it is. But there are times they're not able to do all that. So they will not get enough money to reach the budget that they cast. That's a shortfall, meaning they collect less money than what they said they were going to collect. When that happens, they have to cut here, take here to patch it up so that they will meet other expenditure. So to do that, it means some places will have to be cut out, denied. And usually it is the ordinary person who gets denied, where you're supposed to go and get some kind of help. Maybe they sort of buy medicine and put it in the hospital, JFK, and make the medicine cheap or whatever they're supposed to do for you. They cut that one because they ain't got enough money. But all the big people, they'll get a part of money. Even when there's a budget shortfall, they will get that money. That you, the ordinary person, you the one will live the budget shortfall because the budget, they ain't getting enough money to pay for everything. And that's why some of you didn't get paid for the Christmas. But some of the big people, they got paid. That's not right. And you know it. But yet, some of you continue to vote for these people, even though some of them, the decision they're making, they're harming you, but you continue to vote them because you like them, that you're mad at. Hey, they're my mayor, they're my mayor, bow. But anyway, election time can run, you vote for the same man. They go and get their allotment, they enjoy themselves, you go to bed hungry, mosquito eating you, you don't get fan, you don't get AC, nothing. They enjoy themselves. Next year, election time, they bring a sweet talk, you vote for them again. But listen, I hope I haven't been, boring you. I enjoy your time with me. Thank you for joining the CMC Corner tonight. It has been an honor and pleasure to hang out with you. Thank you very much for joining us. Ansu, if you can hear me, if you're in the back there, thank you very much. We're leaving in about 1 minute. So hopefully Dr. Richards and the team will be back here tomorrow. Please do make it a date to join us tomorrow. The political launch comes on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 6:30 USA Eastern Time, which I think is around 11:30, I believe, Liberian time. So please make it a date. We're planning on coming on earlier so that we'll come when most of you are up. And we're also planning on putting on a weekend show, which will be earlier in the day. So we're working out on all of these. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. Do have a pleasant night or a pleasant morning. I think it's morning in Monrovia and in Liberia. Until tomorrow again, Jeff Victor Nangwe, signing out. Be safe, be kind, take it easy. Have a good night.
CMC, for the people, by the people.